Jai Hind all of you. Dear children, welcome to science class. Today we are going to learn a new chapter, chapter 7, weather, climate and adaptations of animals to climate. So, in this chapter we can discuss about weather, climate and how some animals are adapted to climate of polar regions and tropical regions of Earth. So, first let us learn about weather. Most of you might have heard elders in your family discuss about the weather before planning a family function, like marriage and all, isn't it? Or you might have heard the experts discussing about the weather before starting a game like cricket and all. Have you ever think why do they do so? Because the weather has a profound effect on our livelihood. There are daily weather reports on television and radio and in newspapers. The daily weather reports carries information about the temperature, humidity and rainfall during the past 24 hours. It also predicts the weather of a day. The weather reports are prepared by the meteorological department of the government. This department collects the data on temperature, wind, etc. and makes the weather predictions. And many of our daily activities are planned based on this weather predicted for that day. Do you know what this weather really is? We can know about it by doing an activity. You can collect the weather report of the last week from any newspaper. Then draw a table like this. Name each column in the first row as date, maximum temperature, minimum temperature, maximum humidity, minimum humidity and rainfall respectively. Now fill all the columns with the information in the weather reports in the newspaper. Now let us analyze the data updated in the table. The maximum and the minimum temperatures recorded may be same for some of the days, but all the parameters are not the same on any 2 days. Over a week, there may be considerable difference. So, we can conclude that the day-to-day conditions of the atmosphere at a place with respect to the temperature, humidity, rainfall, wind speed, etc. is called the weather at that particular place. What are the elements of weather? These temperature, humidity, rainfall, etc. are the elements of weather. Now here you can see the weather forecast of a day. The weather is a complex phenomenon that it can vary over a very short period of time. As we can see, sometimes it is a sunny day in the morning, but suddenly the clouds appear and it starts raining heavily. Or sometimes a heavy rain may vanish and within minutes it gives away a bright sunlight. We have discussed earlier that the meteorologists prepare the weather reports. All the elements of the weather are measured and recorded every day. There are special instruments for measuring the elements of weather. There are special thermometers for measuring the temperatures called maximum and minimum thermometers. Humidity is the measure of the moisture in air. Humidity is measured by an instrument called hygrometer, and the rainfall is measured by an instrument called rain gauge. It is basically a measuring cylinder with a funnel on the top to collect the rainwater. All these changes in the weather are caused by the sun. The maximum temperature of the day occurs generally in the afternoon, and the minimum temperature occurs generally in the early morning. That's why we all feel more comfortable early in the morning than in the afternoon. Next, let us learn about climate. Children, we have discussed that meteorologists record with the weather every day, no? These records of the weather have been preserved for the past several years. And these records help us to determine the weather pattern of a particular place. If the temperature of a particular place is high most of the time, then we say that that particular climate of that particular place is hot. And if there is heavy rainfall on most of the days in that particular place, then we can say that the climate of that place is hot and wet. So, what is climate? It is the average weather pattern taken over a long time for about 25 years, and it is called as the climate of that particular place. For example, let us find out the mean temperature of two places in India. That is Srinagar in Jammu and Kashmir and Thiruvananthapuram in Kerala. Now, how we can calculate the mean temperature? It can be done in two steps. First, we have to find the average of the temperature recorded during the months. And secondly, we can calculate the average of such average temperatures over many years. This gives the mean temperature of the month at a particular place. The daily temperature and rainfall in a year of these two particular places are given in your textbook, page number 71. In this, we can find out the difference in the climate of Jammu and Kashmir and Kerala. Kerala is very hot and wet as compared to Jammu and Kashmir. Jammu and Kashmir has a moderately hot and wet climate for the part of a year. Similarly, if we take the western region of India, that is, for example, Rajasthan, it will show the temperature is high during the most part of the year, and during winter the temperature is quite low and lasts only for a few months. And this region receives only very little rainfall. So it is a typical desert climate and it is very hot and dry. Like that, the northeastern India receives rain during the most part of the year, and we can say that the climate of northeast is wet. So that is all about the weather and climate. In the next class, we can study about the adaptations of different types of animals in different climatic conditions. All of you read the textbook thoroughly and prepare the notes. Okay, thank you.